first thing you're going to want to know about me is, am I a boy, am I a girl? Don't worry, I'm used to it. But it's not that simple. The world isn't binary. Sometimes it's not a switch, it's a dial. And it's not even a dial you can get your hands on. It turns without your permission or approval. Identity is an aspect of one's character that's always evolving. For most of my life, I felt like I was stranded in no man's land, waiting for someone to give me a push so I could finally feel whole. I sat at a crossroads. Should I risk it all, my career, my family, my relationship, my friends, to be myself, or continue hiding? My identity has evolved over time, one that started in pitch black, and with each step towards the unknown, I learn something new. My community is really just starting to be represented in media, but most representations that you'll see aren't accurate or are just one-sided. Through New York Times' Transgender Lives, Symptoms of Being Human by Gavin, Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out by Kuklin, and the 2015 U.S. Transgender Survey, or USTS, Executive Summary by Sandy James, Jody L. Herman, Susan Rankin, Mara Hensling, Lisa Montet, and Mai Ann Anafay. I would like to show you the diversity and hardships of the trans experience. I've been called a man before. Even now, some say I look like a man. I don't know how they can pick it up, but they do. It makes me feel less like a woman. I start questioning, do I really pass in society? I really, really hate being transgender. While everyone else my age is saving up for a car or a house, I'm saving up to look possible. I'm saving up for a vagina. The 2015 U.S. Transgender Survey is the largest survey examining the experiences of transgender people in the United States. With 27,715 respondents, the findings reveal disturbing patterns of mistreatment and discrimination, and startling disparities between the transgender respondents and the U.S. population as a whole, when it comes to some of the most basic elements of life, such as finding a job, having a place to live, accessing health care, and enjoying the support of family and community. I had an image in my head about how I was supposed to look. I wanted to look androgynous, as if you can't tell that I have male or female genitalia. It's a nice image. When someone says that I look male or female, it messes with my head. Every step was scary. Buying men's clothes for the first time, using men's restrooms, living as a man in a female body with female documents and a higher voice. I had to fight again. In hindsight, this was excruciating, but I felt I was getting somewhere. When they started separating kids according to sex, I got in trouble a lot. I just assumed you could use any bathroom, but the teachers told me I had to use the girls' bathroom. I didn't understand. All the bathrooms looked the same to me. So I was like, I'm just not going to use any bathroom. I would literally hold whatever I had the entire day until I got home. I developed a urinary problem that lasted until 5th grade. In the past year, respondents reported being verbally harassed, 12%, physically attacked, 1%, and sexually assaulted, 1%, when accessing a restroom. Nearly 1 in 10 respondents reported being denied access to a restroom in the past year. No one accepted me as a straight boy. Within a week, they started picking up that I was naturally feminine. They called me a sissy and a faggot. When I entered the cafeteria, everyone immediately took notice of me. Then slowly but surely, I started to hear boo, 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 boo. It got louder and louder and more intense, and then they started shouting, "You don't belong here. Get out, faggot." I didn't like the way I looked. I never looked at myself in the mirror. The moment I did, I would get depressed for a month. That's how extreme it was. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't feel that anyone understood me. I started to physically hurt myself. I started to cut. When I got up, the desk just flew over. I guess Andrew felt threatened about that. He got up and punched me in my face. Then he threw me between the desks and was stomping on my head and back. The teacher didn't try to break us up. At least the other boys didn't join in. Nearly half of respondents reported being verbally harassed for being transgender in the past year. Nearly 1 in 10 respondents reported being physically attacked for being transgender. Nearly half of respondents have been sexually assaulted at some point in their lifetimes. I was really close to my extended family, but not anymore. They're just so narrow-minded. Every time I go over to my grandmother's house, they want to pray for me. I really don't need to be prayed for. I'm gender fluid. Some days I feel more boy, and some days I feel more girl, and some days I feel somewhere in between. But no matter where my internal compass points, my body remains the same. And some days, around half the time, I feel alien inside it. It's a heavy, suffocating feeling. My doctor calls it dysphoria. On days when it's really bad, dressing in a way that fits how I feel inside seems like the only thing that might relieve the dysphoria. But I can't always present myself how I want to. If I show up on day one feminine, people will assume I'm always a girl. And if I show up the next day dressed like a guy, they'll react. Taunts, ridicule, even violence. I've seen it happen. So I have to settle for looking neutral. I can't remember the last time I felt comfortable in my own skin. Other students had come up to me privately and told me that they felt like a woman, but that they couldn't show it. I'd tell them I'd been there once. You just gotta give it a shot. There's nothing they can really do to you. That's what life is about, taking chances. You're not gonna get anywhere if you don't give it a try. Well, respondents in the USTS sample overall were more than twice as likely as the US population to be living in poverty. Respondents of color, including Latinx, Native, multiracial, and Black respondents, were more than 3 times as likely to be living in poverty. I said to myself, I think of myself as a guy, but I don't identify as a boy completely. So how in the world can I explain this? It's confusing to say I'm neither gender. Everyone is used to 2 sexes. From clothing to vitamins, passports to bathrooms, I don't see my gender, my identity, me, anywhere. I've lost 2 jobs in the last 2 years, and have been unemployed since December of last year. I wouldn't say it, but I know both jobs got rid of me because of my gender identity. In the state of Georgia, there are no laws to protect me in searching for employment. Nearly 1/3 of respondents were living in poverty. A major contributor to this high rate of poverty is likely respondents' 15% unemployment rate. Even more concerning, nearly 1/3 of respondents have experienced homelessness at some point in their lifetime, with 12% reporting experiencing homelessness in the year prior to completing the survey. For the first time, I consider the consequences of coming out. School would be unbearable, obviously. The taunting I get just for looking different is a drop in the ocean compared to the torrent of discrimination I would face for being openly gender fluid. My mom would accept me, I think. My father, on the other hand, what would it do to him? But there's another voice in my head. Maybe it's Dr. Ann's, or maybe it's my own. That voice is telling me these things aren't reasons, just excuses. When I first started my transition, I wanted it to be complete, from one side to the other. But now, I'm embracing my in-betweenness, and I'm happy. I'm proud to be transgender. I don't expect you to completely understand me, but please, try.